This week, the world focus will be on Durban when global experts speak out on how to prevent the 360,000 lives being lost every year due to drowning. The upcoming World Conference on Drowning Prevention will look at how to reduce the dire statistics from the World Health Organization. Lifesaving South Africa, or LSA, and the International Lifesaving Federation, ILS, co-hosts the over 500 delegates from 60 countries hosted on the African continent for the first time. This biannual World Conference will specifically focus on the scourge of drowning throughout South Africa and Africa. We're joined now in our Durban studios by Dr. Colleen Saunders, Program Director of the World Conference on Drowning Prevention, and Mr. Sandile Shabalala. He's a lifeguard with Lifesaving South Africa Drowning Prevention. A very good evening to you both, and thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us.
Thank you so much for having us on studio.
All right, so Dr. Saunders, let me start with you. Let's look at the themes that will dominate the summit. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure, this conference is quite unique. It brings together sort of academics, practitioners, policymakers from all over the world. So it's a great forum for people to come together, share evidence, and well as looking at interventions and whether or not they work. So the themes for the conference cross all of those spheres. It's very interdisciplinary. We've got a data stream, so looking at situational assessments of drowning around the world. We've got a few presentations from South Africa on the drowning situation and data here. We have streams on interventions, so looking at particular drowning interventions and whether or not they work, with a particular focus on teaching swimming, so a lot of focus on learn to swim, and what works and what doesn't. And then we have a stream that will look specifically at policy, so the sustainable ways in which we can prevent drowning and keep programs running, as well as advances in medical resuscitation and rescue.
So we'll talk about policy interventions in just a moment, but let's start with the data. What is, first of all, the global incidence of drowning, and then let's funnel down to South Africa?
Sure. So globally, you had the figures earlier. The latest WHO estimates are around 360,000 deaths from drowning every year. But this doesn't take into account a lot of the non-fatal drowning, so which have medical consequences. And in South Africa, we're looking at, on average, about 1,500 fatal drowning incidents every year. And again, the numbers of non-fatal incidents are much higher, probably at a ratio of 10 to 1. But those we don't really have a handle on at the moment.
So, Mr. Shabalala, we've got some background facts playing while we're speaking to you, and some of them are quite interesting, that alcohol plays a very prominent role in some of the drowning incidents. But as Dr. Saunders was mentioning there, the need to teach people how to swim. And we know often in the black communities, people don't have the facilities to learn, let alone can their parents swim. So how do we encourage that?
Ngiyabonga ngalokho sike as a Lifesaving sike sivula isikole sokuthi ingane zifunda ukuswima, and sivakashele nasey'koleni sibatshele about swimming, sibatshele ukuthi ba prevent kanjani i-drowning maybe solwandle. Also sibatshela ngokuningi okwenzakalayo kumele bekufunde, nanokuthi umuntu mase drownile kumele wenze njani.
So, Mr. Shabalala, you're saying that you've got a program running at schools where you teach young children about the importance of swimming and prevention methods. But as I mentioned, for a lot of them, even starting to learn how to swim, if you don't have access to a swimming pool in your community, in your schools, how do you make sure that some of these young children are able to swim?
Okay, authority kokuqala sike sicela kubazali babo, abazali mebezivumela ukuthi sibafundise, and then siyazama ukuthi sikhulume nabo, sizama ukuthi indlela ngayo yonke be understand swimming namanzi. So yeah.
Abazali niyabakhuthaza yini ukuthi bakwazi ukuswima bona? Do you encourage the parents themselves to be able to swim?
yes siyabakhuthaza kakhulu, sibakhuthaza kanye nabazali siyabakhuthaza because most yabo bafika bengakwazi ukuswima bengama-non swimmer, then sibaphushe towards bekwazi ukuthi beswima.
Okay. So, as Mr. Shabalala there is saying, is that they do get permission from the parents to be able to take out young children out into the open, to these facilities, to be able to help them swim. So, Dr. Saunders, you were speaking about new techniques. Tell us about some of those at the conference that you'll be talking about. So, the first prevention method is to ensure that people are empowered, that they're able to swim. What other techniques are there?
Sure, I think so. One of the things that consistently come through at the conferences is the strength of learn to swim programs. We struggle to be able to measure how much that works, but we know that it does. And so a lot of what the focus will be in that stream is looking at different ways of teaching. And what's come through strongly, and perhaps also answers your question before, is teaching swimming skills where people will be swimming. So instead of just swimming pools, but also in the environments in which they will be swimming. In addition to teaching people to swim, there's a lot of other risk factors that we need to address to prevent drowning. So you had a segment before on alcohol, and that the sort of recreational use of alcohol is one of the very strong risk factors for drowning, which we need to look at how to change behaviors. In very young children, our focus will be on surveillance, so making sure on supervision. So making sure parents and caregivers are looking after very young children and looking after them appropriately. So in addition to learn to swim, there are a lot of other risk factors that we can address.
So there's also going to be an exhibition. There's also going to be an exhibition of rescue technologies. Can you profile some of
Yes. Sure, we've got a few commercial partners that have come on board, and so I think today on the beach they did some demo rescues, but there's a big move to the use of drones in terms of being able to identify rips, and as well as dropping out rescue devices. So we should be looking at some of the evidence around that, and I think they had some demonstrations around that today. We've also got some new tech rescue tools that can be used by lifeguards and rescue personnel, and there'll be some evidence presented at the conference about whether or not those work. So I'm looking forward to seeing that.
So, Mr. Shabalala, is there anything in particular that made you want to become a lifeguard?
Yeah, ikhona, because it was 2011. My friend drowned, so angikwazanga ukuthi ngimsize because ngangakwazi ukuthi ngiswim.
How did your friend end up drowning? What happened?
Oh, we was at the beach playing soccer. So ibhola langena emanzini, and then walandela ibhola, then irip yamthatha yamfaka ngaphansi kwamanzi wangabuya.
So as you're saying, the feeling of helplessness of watching your friend drown because he was playing soccer, the ball goes into the sea, and I think it's a normal reaction for somebody to just go into the sea and not take note of the waves or just the tide and end up drowning. But how difficult was it for you to end up being a lifeguard?
For me, it was difficult because I joined the club, Durban South Lifesaving Club. It was 2014. Then I became a lifeguard. It was hard. The training was hard. It wasn't nice. It was hard, but I made it. Yeah. So ingakho nje ngithi abafowethu ngicela befunde ukuswima, because inkinga esivelana nazo ebabhishi zikhona ziningi. So isicelo sami nje sikuthi ngisho nasey'koleni befunde ukuswima.
And I hear you saying that you would like people to empower themselves, learn how to swim, and obviously also themselves know how to partake in rescue efforts. But tell us about some of the experiences that you've experienced, especially you say you see a lot of that at the beaches. What are the main causes of drowning in the experiences that you've had?
Okay, as a lifeguard at the beach, as a lifeguard, ekuseni kumele ngivule ibhishi ngibuke ukuthi condition enjani. So ukuvula kwami ibhishi kwaba khona umuntu ogxume ephiyeni ngisalivula nje ibhishi. So I had to swim and go and rescue that person. Ngamsiza. It wasn't hard. It wasn't easy. It was hard. So yeah.
Kaningi abantu when they drown, inkinga kuba yini bayenza ukuthi they end up drowning? Is it bad behavior noma is it just simply that abantu abakwazi ukuswima, they can't swim?
It's because people, they don't know how to swim, and enye into abanye baqhamuka emabhishi bephuzile kakhulu alcohol, and when you tell them what to do bengafuni ukuthi bekuzwe. Yeah, and the behavior yabo ke maybe semabhishi abalalela ama-lifeguard sometimes, so iyona into eyimvelaphi ukuthi
yini okwenza ukuthi bangalaleli ama-lifeguards. Why do you believe that lifeguards don't get that respect? Why do people not listen to them?
I think some of them basuke bephuzile cause we whistle people. Mashaya impempe abanye babo basuke beyibukela nje o-ref bathi yeah abalalela ama-lifeguard. So
there you have it from a lifeguard who just says basically people just don't listen to them on the beaches when they give direction or warnings. And we've heard also from Dr. Colleen Saunders, who's a program director of the World Conference on Drowning Prevention. Sandile Shabalala is a lifeguard with Lifesaving South Africa, drowning prevention, both of them joining us in our Durban studio.